Go. Welcome to round 3 of the DGFX GT Open here at the historic and beautiful Long Beach Street Circuit in sunny Southern California. I'm Andrew Allen, and with me today are Ed Boris and Tim Brokaw. Hey guys.
How you doing?
Hey Andrew.
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. Well, as we roll around with the pace car here, Ed, why don't you take us through some of the key points to survive this brutal track?
Well, the first point is you're not going to survive this track, but some of the things you got to do is keep it clean and try and keep out of other people's way.
It's like they've just gone green.
Yep, and we have green. Now this first corner is going to be super important here. Let's see how they get through it.
A lot of aggressive moving already.
You can see how tight it is through that fountain area there. It's really tight, as you'll see a couple of cars go side by side there. That's really close racing there. Overall, a nice... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we had a couple of guys rear-end each other in the fountain already.
Yeah, I was almost surprised to not see a wreck there. Pretty decent job, all things considered. You know, a lot of guys not having a ton of practice time at this track to get through there fairly cleanly. Yeah, there's a little bit of rub in there, but I think everyone's fairly damage-free here in the opening lap, which is nice to see.
Yeah, it looks like first and second are actually starting to pull away from the field a little bit already, just at the end of the first lap here.
Yeah, those two guys are getting away pretty quickly at the front there. The RUF again looking strong. That has been the car to beat pretty much for this series. Very balanced.
Yeah, I think it's a nice thing about the RUF that's been a good attribute for it is that, you know, the rear engine's got so much grip, it can get on the power so easily, and it seems to eat curbs, you know, with not too much difficulty.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see a couple of McLarens up in 4th and 5th, though. They're doing pretty good.
I think that would be Poole you're referring to, 3 Wide Motorsports there. It's just following through the hairpin there. He's definitely shown his speed. I think he was a podium contender at Sebring as well.
And you have looks like a bad cactus McLaren up there as well, if I'm not mistaken, or actually that may be mid-pack. Let's see here.
Yeah, just behind Poole is Ronald, and he's actually Blackadder Motorsports. That'd be
Yep.
for 5th place.
Yep. So 2 McLarens in the top 5. That's good running for them so far. Let's see if they can hold on to that. That'd be nice to see them. Classic Golf livery on that McLaren, running in 4th place currently.
Poole, yeah.
Yeah, then there in 6th, we've got Brian Strodbeck from Turn 2 Motorsports.
Let's do a little bit of onboard let's. I'm gonna do some gyro cam with him. We can show the people how bumpy this track really is.
Them coming in the first corner here, that left-hander, you got to be careful not to go too wide on exit. Here we go around the fountain. That's really tight, and later on down the race, we'll get some understeer there.
Yeah, everybody seems to be pretty clean through turn 5 there. Where the cones stick out there, that kind of tends to bite people once in a while.
Personally, I don't know, with the Ford, I had to take that whole first part of that turn just kind of coasting because it's so bumpy you can't get on the power, it just steps out.
Yeah, this track definitely rewards patience. You know, getting on the throttle, it's just so flat. There's not a crazy amount of grip on this track, and with the added bumps, it just makes life that much more difficult. And then here, you know, you go around that hairpin, and it's so tight. The guys with triple screens definitely have the advantage there because they can kind of see around that corner, but even still, it's such a sharp turn. You know, that might be the sharpest hairpin with the tracks we have available here on iRacing, and it'll definitely catch you off guard for sure.
Yeah, I think that probably is got to be the sharpest. It's hard to get around. You almost have to stop.
Yeah, I've spent many a lap in the wall on the exit of that turn.
Yeah, I think we all have. There's no understating how difficult it is. And that's just one of the dangerous corners on this track. And it's like every track, danger lurks. There's no room for error.
Well, these concrete walls just will reach right out and bite you.
So I mean, we've got 6th place Brian that we're riding with, and you know, he's doing 120 flats. That's pretty respectable.
Yeah, these guys are qualifying. I think our pole sitter was qualified in the very high 18s, 18-second range there, 118. But the majority of the top 10 qualified seemed like low and mid 119s. So for these guys to be running, you know, low 120s right off the bat, that's a pretty quick pace.
Yeah, I got the train going here. 3rd through 6th. I'm gonna switch out to a TV cam.
Yeah, not a lot of move for positions in the top 10 right now, but you know, that's probably smart considering how brutal this racetrack really is. It's been said before, and you know, it's going to be said in future races here, but it's definitely you know, a very attrition-filled race here. You know, it's 45 minutes, but in that 45 minutes, you know, you're going to have guys dropping out. Here, actually, looks like one of the roughs actually just pulled off to the side. Got some engine problems
Marshall
there.
Williams.
No.
Yeah, hopefully he can get in the pits and get that fixed and get back out.
It looks like he is coasting, so he will probably take advantage of the one free quick fix and hopefully get back out and start turning some laps and pick up some points. But not surprising, you know, this track will bite you.
Yeah, survival is key at this track. If you can keep your car clean and all 4 tires under it, you got a pretty decent chance of getting a decent finish.
Yeah, that was definitely my strategy, but I think on lap 3, a couple of laps ago, I smacked into the wall and bent my steering. Somehow I was able to make it through the race. I'm not sure how your guys' experience was in the race, but it's difficult out there.
I'm gonna switch to you and see if we can check out that damage on your car, as a matter of fact. Looks driver's side for sure, yeah. Towards the rear. Looks like you might have stepped out. Got some wing damage, and the rear fender is punched in. One thing I did notice though on this track, if you hit the tires, it seems a lot more likely to bend your sheet metal, not necessarily all the rest of the car. Actually, it looks like you do have some damage on the front of the car too. It's looking a little crinkled there.
So that explains the horrific understeer.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I like the modification you did to the left side of your wing too.
Yeah, that's a aerodynamic secret. You know, it's patented. So don't try copying that one.
Let's go back to most exciting. I'm gonna go back on the TV cam.
Well, we're almost a third of the way through this race already.
Yeah, it looks like.
Oh.
Oop, got a Ford GT spun around there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like Russell Clayson. He's waiting for everybody to get by so he can get underway again. Kind of, it's a trap there. I mean, you can't just get going again. You pull out in front of somebody and then you're both done.
Yeah, it's a sinking feeling, you know, if you have a moment like that where you got to sit out on the track and watch as the entire field passes you by and you hop in towards the end there. It's pretty frustrating as a driver.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you had decent track position before you went around.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you could be sitting there for, you know, a good 20, 30 seconds before there's a decent break in traffic where it's safe to actually get out on track. And then you go out back there and you're seeing red because you want to gain all those positions back, and then you're very likely to spin it again. So it's a catch-22 almost.
Yeah. That was odd. I don't know if you noticed it, but I was following Brian Strodbeck there, and for the past lap, it showed the whole front of his car punched in.
Whoa! As we get a little bit of contact.
Yeah.
There, that was
punched in for real this time. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Again, that hairpin. You know, it's especially with the mix of cars here. You know, you don't know exactly where everybody's braking point is going to be. You know, we're only a third into the race, so you don't know exactly where, you know, people are going to start turning in, when they're going to start accelerating out of the hairpin, and then, you know, add that to the fact that you can't even see them through half of that turn. You know, if you start accelerating and they have a bad exit, you may very well be rear-ending them. You know, it's not necessarily your fault. It's just a tricky situation there.
Requires a lot of heads-up driving.
Yeah.
Oh, it's looking bad. A lot of these cars, I'm not seeing too many unscathed, and we're this early in.
Well, to be honest, I was kind of expecting that.
True.
Again, there it almost looks like Brian is just barely scraping the wall on the exit there. I'm not sure if you guys saw that on your cam or if it's just through my latency, but the guys are coming pretty wide through there.
Yeah, I saw that as well. It looks like maybe that's just the optimal line, you know. If you know Brian Strodbeck, you know, he knows the good line through a place. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna check on the championship points real quick while you guys carry it on.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good view. I'm not sure if your cam showed that, but you know, this track, right where the pit exit is, you can see cars coming the opposite direction of you on that same straightaway, basically. And it's it's probably one of the only tracks that we have on the service that actually does that. So if you're spectating, you know, through one of these TV cameras like we are, it's cool because you can see guys that are actually 30 seconds ahead of you on the track coming the opposite direction. It's got to be a treat for spectators at the real thing. Yeah, it's just a very historic venue here at Long Beach. You know, F1 used to race here way back in the day. More recently, IndyCar has been running here for a number of years, even back when it was called Champ Car.
And now the Pirelli World Championship also.
Yeah, that's correct. I think Pirelli races here, and next week I think will be the real life version of this race, which is the United Sports Car Series, brought to you by Tudor, I think is the title sponsor.
Yeah, actually, the Tudor, Pirelli, and the Indy cars are all running the same weekend.
Yeah, so that's the action-packed weekend for you there.
Well, we have a heck of a battle going on for the lead up here. These two guys are just really duking it out.
You
can say there was that lap traffic there in third, or is that a contender? Because it's pretty tight.
No, that was a lapped car.
Okay. Like that lap car bounced off the wall there a little bit, but can't really tell.
Yeah, it can get just extreme intense when the traffic happening. So we're following Pers right now, Hellenic Racing in third place. Behind him still, fourth place in the McLaren Poole for Three Wide Motorsports. And your championship's actually looking like, so far the team championship is being held by Turn 2 Motorsports. Brian Strodbeck is one of the drivers for them. His teammate Steve Brown has been getting a lot of points, is not here today. Three Wide Motorsports just behind them. Actually, I'm sorry, they're tied. 139 and 139. Turn 2 Motorsports and Three Wide Motorsports have the same amount of points. Hellenic Racing is in third place, only by 8 points down. So it's really anybody's, you know, anybody could take it.
And I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but it looked like Poole was able to take advantage of that lapped car. I think that was Julie Redmond, if I'm not mistaken. So Poole moves up into, let's see here.
Just crossing the line.
Oh no, sorry, Pers moves up into third, or keeps third with the help of that lapped car there.
Yeah, I'm still showing Poole fourth unless my overlay is wrong.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. You can see those two guys, how glued they are to each other.
I'm gonna get some onboard gyro cam on that. Actually, let's look off the rear bumper of Pers at Poole.
Will be a hard braking zone into a right-hander here. A left-hander immediately after, coming into the hairpin.
Oh.
You can see how close they get there.
Oh no.
Oh, wow. Pers getting sloppy on that exit.
Gives it up.
Pers might be able to grab the draft and come back around though. It'll still be a battle into the braking zone.
And you're right, he does take it back.
Wow, that was a very nice move.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't think Poole's ready to give it up yet, though.
Poole is just desperately trying to get some breathing room there, but it's not looking like it's going to happen anytime soon.
It looks like Poole is closing on him in the braking zone.
Yeah, definitely. And Purse gets the better exit out of there. It's just a tug of war, really.
And we just passed the halfway point.
Alright, so Tim, you want to run us down the leaders?
Yeah, let's see what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and... Hopefully my ticker is correct. We've got... no, I don't think this is right at all. I'm going to have to turn that off. Sorry about that.
No worries. Good moment would be going to Pinellas on board for a good look at the Cadillac's strengths and weaknesses there.
Let me see if I can get on there. We're on board now with Chris Pinellas, just behind Andrew Allen.
Going off that excellent aerodynamic package there. You can really oh.
Little bump and run. Ooh, and he got it too, I think.
Yeah, you can really see how early the Cadillac has to brake into those zones. It can make it difficult for any of the following cars to really keep it clean.
But then it just torques away on the straights.
Yeah, we'll get a good look at it here.
Oh!
Oh!
Wow, Purse goes around.
I think that was Pinellas, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pinellas, sorry.
Yeah, that's no doubt, I'm sure, caused by some of the frustration of being stuck there behind that Cadillac through the corners. Being a little bit impatient off that hairpin, trying to get a good run.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have some radiator damage to get fixed here.
Back up front with first and second place, as you were asking about the rundown. It's Blake Townend in first, Robert Montero in second, Three Wide Motorsports. So we're looking at Radicals, Three Wide Motorsports, first and second, and they are just hitting traffic and just making their way through, keeping it clean.
Yeah, and these, fairly large fields compared to some of the other events through the official iRacing service, it's super important to be able to get through traffic cleanly. And at a track like this, it can be really difficult. As you see there, I'm not sure if you're following the leader there, but
yeah.
It looks like Townend's having a difficult time trying to get past this Torque Chicken car. But you can tell that he's keeping his distance and he's making sure that he passes at a safe point in time.
There's a whole bunch of cars right there. Brian Strodbeck now is getting kind of caught up in this.
Yeah, if you're following Strodbeck, you can see here he's looks like he's coming up on a Black Adder car. Just made his way through some other lapped cars, it looks like.
Yeah, just made it past David Wayman and Joe Peak and myself back there in the yellow Ford GT.
And actually that That Black Adder car is actually in 4th place.
So they've
My mistake, not a lapped car.
looks like they've both been promoted a spot or two.
Yep. Again, very nice to see these McLarens running, in the top 5. We have a 4th and a 3rd currently, I believe. And you can see that the 1st and 2nd place cars are actually maybe 2 seconds gap, maybe less, and we're almost into the final third of this race.
Yeah, I thought they were going to take off and run away, but the guys behind them pretty much kind of holding their own.
That many cars they got to work through. There's not a whole lot of opportunity for them to just cut and run either. You know, they have to think about the end game.
Yeah, no doubt that there's a little bit of concern of throwing away a race by just taking it too deep into a corner and bouncing off a tire barrier or the concrete there. So I'm sure you're not pushing quite as hard as they could be. Definitely not looking to set any qualify times.
It makes you wonder if Montero in this situation is kind of just content with being where he is and following, keeping in the draft, and maybe waiting till the last minute to make some move if he feels that it presents itself.
Well, yeah, I think he's got to be. I mean, there's not a ton of places to pass at this track, and if you do, unlike other tracks where you have runoff in case you get squeezed to the outside or whatnot midway through a corner, at this track there is no room. Oh, and there's another spinning Ford GT at the front.
It's the same one actually as Russell placed again.
Not having good luck. Yeah, but again, they navigate that cleanly, and it actually looks like because of that, our leader has actually picked up maybe a few tenths down the straight because of that better exit through there. Montero being a little bit more cautious through that hairpin with that spinning Ford GT of Clayson. But yeah, as I was saying, I think Montero is probably feeling pretty content right now. He's just waiting to see how things pan out, waiting to see if any mistakes are going to be made. And at the end of the day, if no opportunity presents itself, he's still got a 2nd place, which is going to be huge for him in the points.
We have another couple of cars splinting right there at turn 1.
Do you know who that was?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Oh, it was Williams.
And Ed Brass right behind him. 4th. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't spin though.
That looks like you just passed him. I think he's a lap down from you.
Yeah, I think Gignac spun and kind of collected Williams with him.
Ed, I'm quite thrilled to see that your car is fairly clean. I don't think I see a scratch on it, so that's a testament to some good navigation there.
Let's take a lap around with Ed here when he comes by. Got him on the gyro cam. We're sitting on board with Ed Voris, one of our co-commentators. This is a post-race broadcast, so this race has already taken place. But let's see how he does here on his lap number. Oh geez, gotta be getting into the 20s, right?
Yeah, I believe this is lap 21. You know, one thing we haven't mentioned yet was the weather, which actually turned out to be pretty good today. It was partly cloudy and low 70s.
Yeah, and humidity level was, I think, in the 30% range, if I'm not mistaken. So
About 36% relative humidity.
yeah, so in comparison to, I think, that first race of the series, which if I'm not mistaken was at Daytona, with a very high humidity there, we got pretty lucky.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah, but again, you know, in Southern California, you're not really going to see that many you know, rainstorms or adverse weather conditions. So I don't think that was really a concern for most of the guys out here. But yeah, all in all, pretty clean laps from Ed Voris, who's with us here in the booth.
Yeah, nice.
Thanks.
I think if I'd have kept it out of the pits, I would have probably been one to run some laps with you there, but I've switched it back to most exciting here. It seems to be bouncing around. Looks like Andrew's coming up behind you. Actually, it's switched to Andrew and you. So, and this is just purely based on the cameras. Ed's letting you by there. And it's gone back up to... it doesn't know who it wants to watch right now.
It's bouncing between us and the leaders.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good couple of choices there. If you guys switch to the cockpit view on Montero's RUF, it's pretty crazy how dirty the windshields get.
Alright, let's check it out.
He's just been following the leader,
Townend.
yeah, Townend, throughout the race, and he's getting all this rubber debris and I'm sure some oil spots picked up onto his windshield.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think Blake might want to go back and get some of his tires back from him.
No doubt, no doubt.
119 last time around. 119.8. You know what I think I'm gonna have to say as they go by, looks like that was James Alex Brown. Looks like he had a little bit of damage letting those guys through there. But what I was gonna say is I think my VIP driver of this race so far has got to be Poole, back there in third, showing us that the McLaren can compete here. He's hanging right with these guys in the McLaren, which has been largely considered to be, you know, at a disadvantage.
Oh, no doubt. You know, he's been doing a stellar job, and I mean, like, he's only, what, maybe less than a second back, possibly.
About exactly a second of what I'm showing. I'm going to go ahead and hop on board with him, and he should have a good shot at both of these guys that we're watching right now. Also with a very dirty windscreen.
Yeah, he's really closed up the gap on them.
You know, next race, you know, we might see all these drivers in a different car. That's totally fair game with the new build. Any predictions on what car you might be driving there, Andrew?
You know, I'm not sure. You know, if they do give us the BMW Z4 GT3 edition, you know, I might take a heavy look at that. It's similar to the Cadillac in it being front engine and rear wheel drive, but should handle a lot better. Obviously, probably not going to have the same straight line advantage, but that's going to be a very interesting car. You know, now at the beginning of the season, I was running the 4GT like you currently are, Tim, and I actually didn't mind that car at all. It's very agreeable. And it's pretty consistent to drive. The Cadillac just has an undeniable speed on the straights, which can make it hard to pass for other cars, which is kind of why I like it. But that being said, I think a lot of people are going to have decisions to make. One being, are they going to stick with the car that they know and have performed well in, or are they just kind of going to do a few test sessions and kind of hop right back into the series in a completely different car? It can be pretty difficult to switch around like that if you've been running the last 3 races or so in the car you're choosing.
It's true.
And to just switch a car it kind of takes a different skill set to drive a different car. You got to really know the characteristics of it.
Yeah, that's a good point you make, and also there's a chance that there'll be more than 4. They might have 5 to choose from. So whether or not they want to take the seat time to give them all a close look, I guess we'll see. Ed, anything, any thoughts from you about what you're thinking may happen with your car choice?
Well, obviously I'll have to drive the Z4, but if it's not that, it'll probably be the McLaren, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually ran some laps here in the McLaren, and I really like the way it felt.
Yeah, and this is a track where I think the McLaren does have a pretty balanced feel to it. This is a track that doesn't have a lot of curbing per se. Yeah, it has bumps, but the curbs are relatively flat. So it doesn't get upset as much as it does on previous tracks like Sebring, where the curbing is quite large and you can't take those aggressive curves like the RUF can, which can be a disadvantage to the McLaren. But on a track like this, it's pretty mild. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, actually, I'm hoping that they kind of maybe fix that in the new build.
Yeah. Well, they've got a new vehicle dynamics. I don't know if it's new, but they did introduce us through a video making the Z4 to a vehicle dynamics engineer, and the video, watching it, makes you feel pretty confident that that's really in the forefront of their minds and something that they're going to be working on. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I guess we'll definitely find out once it's released. But it looks like we're down to the final 5 minutes here. Should be seeing the white flag in the next couple of laps here.
Let's see if I can run down the order here. We've got Townend in first. Behind him in second, we have Montero, Blue White Motorsports. Third would be Poole, fantastic job in the McLaren. Fourth place, we've got Brian Strodbeck in the Turn 2 Motorsports RUF. Sixth would be Pers. And Lamarche in seventh, followed by Gignac, Andrew Allen, Kevin Binkley, Alamaris, Joe Peak, Chris Panolas, followed by David Whamman in 14th, Ed Voris in 15th, James Alex Brown in 16th, and Russell Clayson in 17th. I think that's everybody is still running. Everyone else is probably retired at this point.
I think you're right. So we started from 22 entrants, it looks like.
Yeah, 17 left.
So that makes for seems like 5 cars that have dropped out from the race.
Yeah, I have one of those 5 that didn't make it to the end.
Another testament to how unforgiving this track is.
so. Well, I guess we'll get to see if Montero is actually planning to make some late moves here. It's probably going to come to fruition. It's going to have to in the next couple minutes.
Want to go to on board with him?
Yeah.
And he's going to have to close that gap just a bit to be able to realistically make a move. These braking zones are pretty narrow. There's really only one line through the corners.
Yeah, on the one hand, he might have been saving his tires and fuel for this last push, but at the same time, you know, he may not have the rubber under him to make it happen.
Yeah. And again, you don't see a lot of aggressive driving or defensive driving out of our leader, which is, it kind of tells you that he's comfortable where he is right now. You know, Montero not driving deep into the braking zones and trying to make anything happen right now. So these two up front, you know, I think they're just trying to finish this out. I don't think we're going to see any, you know, desperate moves from Montero here. I think he's just going to be happy to finish second on the podium.
He's going to be picking up 40 points for himself and for the Radicals. And then 39 for Montero, so I mean, to put that at risk for 1 point isn't really probably a bigger picture type of thinking.
Right, yeah, this early on in the series, I mean, we got how many races left, Tim?
It would be 7 rounds after this still that'll be scored.
This early in the series, I don't think we're going to see any you know, desperate last-ditch moves for a position. Later on, you know, when it comes to the final races, if the points are close, I think we are going to see some desperate measures being taken. But as of right now, I think these guys are just happy to finish 1-2.
Yeah, you got plenty of season left to pick up 1 point.
And Poole, he gets my gold star today, just right there with him, and that's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
You can see it looks like he's closed the gap a bit, or if I might be mistaken there. Let me check.
I'm looking now at the rear suspension view of Townend. Well, Poole gets really loose coming out of turn 5 back there, but he's right behind Montero.
He's really pushing Tim.
So there goes all our cautious talk out the window. Looks like he might be trying to make something happen for second place.
Yeah, but I give him a lot of credit keeping up with those front 2 port roughs.
Puffs.
Yeah, puffs.
This will be final lap here. Is this the final lap, or are they taking the checker now?
No, they should have. I think they should have 1 or 2 more, Tim.
Okay.
It does look like the overlay there shows they're on their final lap, but I think we still got some time on the clock.
I guess we'll stay with this. Seems to be the battle that we should probably be watching.
No doubt.
That cone bit it. Oh.
Oh,
no.
Man. There went second and third.
See if they're going to lose a spot or not. Oh, here comes Strad back. We're going to capitalize. Do they still have another lap? They might be damaged. Let's see how this works out and pull loose again.
Yeah, just brushing off that tire barrier there, looks like.
Well, they still seem to be Oh man, the car's looking pretty crinkled, but they still seem to be moving pretty good. But let's see, Brian might be able to pull them in. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the moment that you look back after the race and you say to yourself, what was I thinking?
Yeah, probably shouldn't have tried that one.
Yeah, but I've been in that spot before, and it's so hard to stay patient when you're that close. I mean, if you see an opportunity, you kind of want to go for it, but honestly, I'm not sure how much of an opportunity he had there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on board with Strodbeck here, and let's see. I think this might be the last one. I think he's seeing red.
Yeah, he's pushing hard. This is pretty exciting, I have to say. This has probably got to be one of the closest finishes that we've had this season, with 3 cars all within about a second range of each other. And all fighting for podium positions. I think this is the last lap, so they'll come around to the flag. And
It's gonna be a drag race, or is this gonna stay in the order that it
I
was?
think it's gonna stay in the order. These cars are pretty evenly matched down the straight, so yep,
That's it.
and that was it.
Yeah, but what an exciting finish.
So our official podium will be Townend in first, Montero second, Poole with a fantastic drive in the McLaren, and third, Strodbeck also with a great drive, 4th place. Any final thoughts on that, you guys?
It's, if you were to look at the timing screen there, you would have thought that Townend was just cruising to his victory, but in reality, I think there was only maybe a 1-second gap, less than that probably, throughout the majority of the race until the second and last lap, and that's when there was that incident between second and third, and he was able to capitalize on that and get a 7-second lead over second. But but then second through fourth tells you the real story of this entire race. When you have less than a full second between those 3 competitors,